Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. As Roma's first signing of the summer transfer window, it looks like it's going to be Nandez from Cagliari. Very big news. I think it's big news because Fisto isn't here and we're already thinking about players. And I like that because, you know me, I like the planning. I like to plan things early, have the new players in for the summer preseason. And I like to be organized and set and buy players on time rather than in the last minute of the transfer window. So I like this. Also, Lukaku sends cryptical messages on Instagram. Is it a message linking him to a potential stay at Roma? Is he trying to convince his agents, Chelsea, Roma themselves to buy him permanently? He basically put this Instagram story of him with the Roma kit, and then a caption going, "Love, people love you. People love if you kind of perform for them. You should learn from this." Something like this, something along these lines, and it's definitely a message. So we're definitely going to speak about striker hunt, Lukaku, no Lukaku. We basically have one of the first new signings of the season. So I want everybody to hit the like. If we can get 100 likes on this video, it would be amazing. Also subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm done with all the boredom. Let's talk about this. Now, who's confirmed this? Fabrizio Romano hasn't confirmed this. Di Marzio hasn't even confirmed this. Who has confirmed this is his agent himself, who got asked a question about Roma and Nandez, and he said the agreement has been found. Nandez will sign a 3-year deal at Roma. So it's the agent himself who is confirming this. My opinion on this is very simple. He is coming in to replace Renato Sanchez, and that is an improvement because he is somebody who isn't injury prone. He is somebody who's been playing in this league for quite a long while. He knows the teams, he knows how to adapt, and that's a very good thing. And third of all, he is aggressive. He's got that tenacious South American Latin spirit that he has put in every single Cagliari performance. I looked at that Cagliari performance this weekend away at Sassuolo, which meant saving themselves from relegation. And Nandez played one hell of a good game. Now, again, people are going to say, I can see Tarak in the chat going, Nandez is not a good news. I think it's another flop. I disagree. The reason we're saying this is very simple. The reason we're saying this is because we are coming from a project under Mourinho, and we're coming from Mourinho, whose box office and played a very big part in Dybala, in Lukaku, which to us football fans are big names. We are coming from this project, and therefore it's normal for us and our instincts who are coming from the Dybalas. Oh, I've bought Dybala, I've bought Lukaku, I signed Paredes. These are all big names. They've won major trophies. Dybala's Dybala, Lukaku's Lukaku, Paredes won the World Cup. And it's normal for us to get linked to these players, and now all of a sudden we go, I don't want him. I'm used to bigger names. Why the hell do I want Nandez? Well, that's exactly what we get wrong, because sometimes the big names don't guarantee massive performances. Sometimes it's better to go for players who don't have a massive agenda behind them, who don't have a massive CV behind them, but probably give more than what an average, big player could give. And this is what we need to understand. The project is a different project. The project is a different project. The project isn't the one that we followed last summer. The project isn't a project that guarantees immediate success. That hasn't worked out. We've changed this, and we had to change this because it didn't work out. Now we are going to see a project where we are going to see a lot of little names to us being linked to us, and a lot of very few big names, what we consider big names from the perspective of Roma fans. We won't sign them anymore, and we need to place this in our mind. We need to place this in our mind, because anybody who expects big names, anybody who expects injury prone, retired Modric or retired Marco Reus, those are big names. Yes, okay, it might increase the merchandise, but those names don't bring us anywhere. We need to start from scratch. We need to reconstruct. If we stick with Deadwood, he's got a big name, of course he'll guarantee me a massive season. That's wrong, because look at the many examples that we've had in the past following this, and look at how many times we've remained disappointed ourselves as fans. This is a good signing. Again, adding on to this, he's a free agent. Free agent, okay, I know Aouar was a free agent as well, but at the end of the day, one thing is buying somebody who's shit and spending 50 million on him, and one thing is buying somebody who's shit and spending €0 on him. There's a very big difference. I don't think he's shit at all. In fact, I think he can guarantee good performances. The one thing that I like, and this is something which I don't know what it is, but it unites all Latin American players, it's the spirit. Go ask any random Cagliari fan, and I can guarantee you their favorite player in that Cagliari team is Nandez. It is, because he puts that shift in, he puts that aggressive shift into games. He's been at Cagliari for a lot of time. He was linked to Inter. Inter were heavily interested in him a few years ago. He stayed at Cagliari. He got Cagliari promoted last year. He got Cagliari safe this year. Now it's time for him to jump and move on. He's 28 years old. He's not that old. He doesn't have a record of injuries. So, and again, as I said before, he knows this league really well. He doesn't need to adapt. He doesn't need to orientate himself. He would just need to adapt from the step up from Cagliari to Roma. But he knows the teams, he knows the players, he knows how to play in Italian systems. And again, if this is a signing to replace Renato Sanchez, we've already improved the team. Like, we could not buy anybody else, just Nandez instead of Renato Sanchez, and we've guaranteed improved that team. Because he's consistent, and that's what we lack. We lack consistent players. During that Genoa game on Sunday, it was the Strootman game, right? And when Strootman went in front of the Curva Sud, had a clap, went like that and all of that, I had a massive flashback in my mind. And that flashback was Nainggolan, Strootman and De Rossi. De Rossi was a legend, yes. But Nainggolan and Strootman, were they big names at the start when we bought them? No, they weren't. And what made this trio of midfielders the best midfield trio that we've had, probably one of the best that we've had since we won the last league title, consistency. We lack this. We've got too many injury-prone players, which don't guarantee performances, don't guarantee a consistent rhythm to games. Do we all remember how good that midfield was? And it's not because, it's not because he's De Bruyne, one's Rodri, and one's Odegaard. No, absolutely not. Nainggolan we put from Cagliari, first of all on loan, and then bought him permanently for around 4 million. Strootman we bought from PSV Eindhoven for around 12 million. That's how you construct a team, in my opinion. Football has changed. Yes, I think that was what, 15 years ago? No, bit less. 13 years ago. Yes, football has changed. I agree. And yes, money is important. But I'm going to continue saying this. It's about quality over quantity. I'm not saying Nandez is going to guarantee 20 goals and 20 assists at all. I don't even think Nandez is going to guarantee a double-figure goals or double-figure assists. But what Nandez can guarantee you is consistency in performances. That's what he's done at Cagliari, and that is what he's going to do. He's not going to be a starting player at all. I think it would be very wrong to get him and start him. He's not here to be a starter. We need to understand this. Because, again, maybe a lot of people are traumatized by this Nandez news because they're like, oh my God, he's going to be my new starting player. Nandez is not here to start. Nandez is here to replace Renato Sanchez. Was Renato Sanchez a starter this season? No, he wasn't. So, if I start next season with Paredes, Pellegrini, Cristante, Bove, a good starting box-to-box midfielder, like, example, Kefrem Turam. And then, second lines, I have somebody like Nandez. That, to me, is a good midfielder. Is a good midfield. Again, De Rossi specifically asked for him. De Rossi specifically asked for him because De Rossi loves these players. We know De Rossi mentioned this in his last press conference. We need players who are hungry. We need players who are here to fight. And Nandez is a starting player. Sorry. No. He isn't. I got it wrong. Nandez is a fighting player. Puts that fight in. De Rossi deliberately said this to kind of not only to change the mentality of some of these players, but to send a very big message to anybody who's interested in joining Roma. You might be bad, you might be good. But that comes secondary. The number one thing that not only the fans, but the manager and the team requires from you is what you put into these games. You can be... You can have triangular feet, or you could have perfect feet. That comes secondary. It's important, of course, but that comes secondary. Because if he fights and he puts that spirit in that we've been lacking for the past few years, then I can guarantee you that he's going to become a good player. It's about how you step in. It's about what you mentally, attitude-wise, you bring to this team more than talent-wise. So, again, I've got nothing against this signing. I'm very happy that we've got it done quickly. Also, we know that Rossi's fallen in love with that experience that he's had in Argentina with Boca Junior. He really kind of got changed by that experience. And Nandez, I believe, was a Boca Junior player whenever De Rossi was there. So the two know each other. The two are good friends. And this is a specific request from De Rossi. Again, something which if the manager wants, I am nobody to oppose it. So that's that. I mean, also he's a starting player in the Uruguayan national team. I really have got nothing to say about. Normally, when I don't like a transfer window, when I don't like a transfer signing, I'm gonna say this out loud. I'm gonna use this platform to try and make myself loud. I've got nothing against this because he's a good player, and he's shown me that he's a good player. Very few injuries, not too old, perfect age, nice spirit, nice attitude, and we need to diffuse away from this. No, not diffuse away, but we need to limit ourselves in getting too attracted by big names, because big names require high salaries, and big names, if you're Roma, are only big names who are either very injury prone, either deadwood, or about to retire. We are nobody to sign big names who aren't one of these don't follow one of these criteria. For us, big name means either injury prone, either deadwood, or either on the verge of retirement. Big name for us is, okay, I understand, Royce, big name, great player, but why, for a team like my team that needs to reconstruct, why would I buy somebody who's 37 years old, is going to play one more season and then retire? Or Kroos. I know he's retiring, but example, I know Kroos would be unbelievable, and I'm not saying that, but for the project I want to build, why do I need to spend high salaries on somebody who's going to play 1 year and then retire? We need to diffuse away from this. I have to buy big names, otherwise the fans won't renew their season ticket. That's wrong, that's false, that's very wrong. This constant obsession of I need to get big names because otherwise my merchandise will not go well. That shouldn't be the priority. The priority should be creating the basis of a team, a good team. It's a free agent. It would be a 3-year contract. I think we're moving towards a 3-year project. Yeah. I think we're moving, and it's a pattern because De Rossi, basically a lot of rumors are saying that he's going to get a 3-year extension, kind of a 3-year deal. Nandez is going to sign on a 3-year deal. I think we've got in plan create this project and have 3 years to try and improve it, and then in 3 years time we'll look where we are. Again, I was saying this before, I was having a chat with my father and he said, this 3-year project, getting players on a 3-year contract, extending De Rossi's contract for 3 years and all of that, that might mean the next season we don't have the team to qualify for the Champions League. That's something that we need to put in our mind. The objective is next season, of course, it is to get Champions League. But if we're building a team full of players, young players, new players, who are gonna come here on a 3-year contract, then it might mean that in the first year of this new project we don't get Champions League football. And then it might be that in the second year, it's when we start popping off. Because in these young, changing the generation 3-year contract projects, normally the pattern says that the first year is not a good year. The first year is a orientating yourself year. This won't be the case because we're going to keep a lot of these players. But I'm here to say that if this is a long-term project, if a lot of these players are here to stay for the next 3, 4, 5 years, young players, then we shouldn't be surprised massively if next season we don't get Champions League football. That shouldn't be the case because we need to compete for it. But I'm kind of linking to Bologna. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but you look at Bologna's project, right, and you're like, the first year was very, very bad. Then, however, the players that I bought who started adapting in the first year now know each other in the second year, and in the second year onwards is where you achieve your results. So that's definitely what I'll say. And then Lukaku, of course, as I said before, I think striker is going to be the number one problem. I really do. Especially without Champions League football, I think the number one obstacle in this summer window is going to be the striker. Because I know that we've changed project, as I said multiple times in this video. But without spending a lot of money, you're not gonna get a good striker. You just won't. A striker nowadays costs a lot, unless, as I said in the last live stream, unless you want to gamble your way through it and spend 3 million on a Argentinian kid who's 17 years old, put him in our team and start him, which is very wrong because he would need somebody to look ahead to and learn from. But unless we want to do that, which I think is a very big mistake, then you need to invest for a striker. The striker market is a very expensive market, and there are plenty of examples. Look at that. I can give you plenty of examples. Whenever a striker has one good season, the team in which this striker belongs massively boosts the price tag. Dovbyk from Girona, for example, he was absolutely nobody last summer, and now all of a sudden he's worth 40 million. Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon, last year he was nobody, has an incredible season. Sporting Lisbon are willing to sell him for 60 million. So unless you've got a base of scout, which we don't have, you can't gamble your way through it and get a young kid and put him in. You need to get somebody who's proven. And to get a proven striker nowadays, you need money. So I think that it's going to be very hard to get a good striker without spending a lot of money, which is gonna therefore ring a bell in our mind and go, you know what, I actually need to spend money for a striker, otherwise I'm not going to get somebody good. And that's where I come in and go, if you need to spend the money, personally, I would spend it on Lukaku. I would. I think, I'm not going to repeat it. I've said it far too many times. It's hard to get strikers. If you don't like spending like Roma, which yes, they're going to spend, yes, this summer they are, But I don't see Roma spending 50 million euros on one single player. I really don't. I really don't see us spending 50 million on one single striker. So I'm very curious to see what happens, because it's not, it's not going to be easy. The competition on strikers is going to be massive. And as I already said before, the striker is the position where I would rather get somebody proven than somebody young and gamble my way through it. Because it's just so important. He's the guy who needs to deliver goals. We need somebody who knows how to score goals. My opinion, ideal number 9 would be Lukaku, Icardi. I'm not saying I want Icardi, but a profile like Icardi, in my opinion, is the kind of striker we need. And then, yes, of course, get somebody young, gamble your way through it, grow him. So yeah, Tammy is another question. What are we going to do with him? I would be tempted to give him one more season, kind of as an experiment to see if he has improved. But I also think we've burnt Tammy, and that Tammy needs to leave because he just will not improve at Roma. We've burnt him alive. So it's going to be very hard for him to reclaim the spot he had in 2022. And also, I think if we're in desperate need of money, we need to sell him. But yeah, that's if we keep Tammy, I would definitely not keep him as a starting striker. He needs to be a second striker, because starting with Tammy as a first striker is very risky. Very, very risky. Right, let me read some comments. Hello, Xuan, how are you? Bella Flavix14, hello, Awithu. Nandez can't be worse than Renato. He can't. That's exactly why it's an improvement. Nandez can play right back, and winger, and midfielder, says Panda. If Atalanta beat Leverkusen, things will get complicated. We only can qualify for UCL if Atalanta finish the season at 5th spot, which means Atalanta can't win against Torino and Fiorentina. I've said this yesterday. I don't want favours from Gasperini. I don't. I read comments saying it's very silly not to want Champions League football. I'm not saying I don't want Champions League football. What I'm saying is I don't want favours from Atalanta. Realistically speaking, this team right now is not ready for Champions League. It just isn't ready for Champions League. I would much rather take time, build a team, and in 1 year time, 2 year time, play in the Champions League, and in the meantime, know that I can reach the final and lift the Europa League trophy again. Champions League nights are great, and the money that you get from it is amazing. And I would love to play against Bellingham and Vini Jr. in Madrid. But I also am very aware that if this current team plays that game, we'll probably lose 7-1. And I, as much as want to play in the Champions League, I don't want to get embarrassed by the world population. So this team right now, in my opinion, is not ready to compete in the Champions League. So I would much rather we play the Europa League again and aim to win it, because I know that we can win it, because next season we would be the favourites in that trophy, in that tournament, knowing that the UCL Sharks don't drop back down. That's my opinion. Everybody is free to think whatever they want. I just don't want favours from a team that I hate, from a team that celebrated when we all suffered last year when we lost the final, from a manager who has only disrespected our name. I just don't want favours from them. I want to achieve my objectives myself. So I'd rather play the Europa League again. Yes, I would. That might sound crazy, but that's my opinion. We really can't have Cristante as a starter either, it says Vincent. He's Uruguayan indeed, Xuan. I trust DDR, and if he approves Nandez, then I'm happy with his signing, and I hope he can give us some glimpses of Raja. Hopefully, yes. DDR midfield general went to Argentina himself to scout players for Roma, says Brandon. Hope Roma can keep both Dybala and Big Rom. It's interesting that our first signing isn't a starter but a second line player. I agree. If Juventus and Bologna win their respective matches, Atalanta will be 5th, even with 1 draw. Did you hear Dybala didn't get the... Yeah, I did hear that. I don't care. I can only celebrate, to be honest with you. So he can have a full preseason with us if he decides to stay. Hello Rabal, Nandez is a beautiful name, experienced in Serie A and he knows the Rossi, but football can be hard. Let's hope he doesn't sign elsewhere at the last moment. FFP non si spende un cazzo, dice Giacomo. Pinto to Bournemouth. How does the transfer window work in the Euros? We can buy players even when the tournament is on. I don't see the problem. Se arrivi in Champions quest'anno ti entrano i soldi per l'anno prossimo. Concordo pienamente, ma a te i soldi ti servono. E anche per questo, sì, io non tifo l'Atalanta domani, ma se va in cioè se ci porta in Champions Atalanta non esulto, ma non sarei neanche troppo triste. La cosa che dico io è, guarda però il Bologna, guarda l'Atalanta, guarda il Bayer Leverkusen, tutte squadre che stanno in Champions, ma hanno costruito squadre senza i soldi della Champions. Questo ti dimostra che sì, i soldi sono importanti, la Champions ti dà un botto di soldi, sì, ma è come spendi i soldi, non quanti soldi spendi. Quella è la differenza che noi abbiamo sempre sbagliato in questi ultimi anni. We'll never rest until we win the UEL. Mate, you are absolutely spot on. If Atalanta win the Europa League tomorrow, there's going to be a sense of jealousy in me that you guys have no idea. I want to win that trophy. I want to lift that trophy. I don't want Dybala or Lukaku, great players, but stop. We want players who want to play and grow up like Salah, Gervinho and Alisson. Right, y'all. Nandez is on the verge of becoming the first signing of the summer. His agent has confirmed the agreement with Roma. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. Don't forget to hit the like. If we can get 100 likes on this video, it would be absolutely amazing. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy tonight and bye-bye. Simon out.